Gojo Satoru, the strongest jujutsu sorcerer, Asta, the Black Guardian, both were born set on an uneasy scale to their world. If these two would fight, who would be the victor? Hey everyone, this is Mr. Crafty. Today this video is Asta versus Gojo. This is recommended to me by a person in my Discord named Justin. Shout out to him. Now, just real quick before I get into the video, I recommend you guys join the Discord because I can get to your videos a lot better than if you just recommend it on like the YouTube comment section. It's not that I won't get to, it's just I might forget, and it's harder for me to go look through all my comments and find them because sometimes you guys overload my comment section. But just out of the way, join the Discord. You have a better chance of getting your video done and recommended. Anyway, let's get to the video. So I'm going to start scaling Gojo first. So in terms of Gojo scaling, he scales above everyone. And I did just recently make I've made a Gojo video, but I also refined my scaling and made a itadori video, so I'm kind of going stuff off that. Now basically the special grades were stated that a cluster bomb might be able to work, and I was able to find that one cluster bomb would be about a city block worth of energy, and he casually deals with the strongest versions of special grades, so that's casual city block level. But you can take this much higher with the fact that the black flash amps you by 2.5 to the power, and if you add that to a city block levels of joules, then basically that just with that meta alone, Gojo should be able to outpoint with Black Flash 4.602 times 10 to the 25 joules of energy, or multi-continental. And before I move on to the other versions of this AP scaling, I'm going to explain to you why Black Flash is reliable. One, it was stated inverse, so I don't know why you would want to go against that. I know people might say it's inconsistent, but think about it. Goku goes Super Saiyan, that's a 50 times amp, and it doesn't even look like it's much of a difference, so I don't know why people are trying to say this with Jujutsu Kaisen. Not to mention it's even stated out of verse on an author's note, so twice this has been stated, and I don't go against author's intent, that's just author's intent. Now going into other means of scaling, Dagon was able with his own domain expansion create an island, and as stated, domain expansions are just they use the creator's actual cursed energy, meaning they actually needed their energy to create that. And if you just take the own island level joule and times it by 2.5 with the Black Flash amp, then Gojo should be able to outpoint 1.799 times 10 to the 47 joules of energy, which is large solar system level. But if you can take this even higher, if you assume that the star inside Dagon's world is an actual star, kind of like how Kaguya makes her stars in her world, then that would make that feat already a large star level feat, accounting for the astronomical unit and the plane they are inhabiting on. And if you add the Black Flash amp, then that feat alone, Gojo should be able to output 8.14 times 10 to the 110 joules of energy, which is high universal. Now, quickly going over speed, so most of the characters in the verse don't really get above massively faster than sound, or like relative physics of some calcs, but there's an interesting feat when Gojo was imprisoned the the prison realm. He said that time does not flow here, it does not pass here, meaning that that would be a stop time, and him moving there, even talking there, would be an inaccessible speed feat. And I can see some debunks to this. You can also argue the fact that since he is very smart and even understand this stuff, as well as his ability Infinity would require him to have some sort of knowledge of how these higher things work, you can argue that he actually does know what he's talking about. But then again, you can turn that on yourself, the fact that since the skeletons aren't actually able to touch him, you can argue that the Infinity is actually just the reason why he can't move there. So on a lower end, he's massively faster than sound to relativistics, and higher end he has inaccessible speed. I'm gonna leave it to your core. And real quick, you should probably go check out my other videos for more context. I'm briefly going over this because if I just want detail of both characters, this video will be a lot longer. Anyway, with that out of the way, I'll quickly go over his abilities. So for Gojo's abilities, he has the Infinity Barrier, which just keeps anything going at him, just infinitely slow it down so it will never hit him. It's very hard to bypass it. There's a few ways, but I'm not going over that, obviously. And as well as his other three attacks, he has his own way of red, which pushes like force around him, like it pushes it away, and it's like a beam ball. And blue, which just attracts objects or people to in a certain area to crush them. And hollow purple, which is a combine of both, which just kind of erases space and even has apparently some sort of, existence erasure. I'm not too sure on that one, but still has some type of space erasure. And he also has some form of regeneration as shown in his own stuff, and he just keeps it on all the time. And with that out of the way, that basically goes over Gojo. So let's move over to the Asta portion of this scaling. Alright, now moving on to the Asta portion of this video, I'll follow the trope and go start with power. Now, Asta directly scales above Lucifero, meaning in his true double union, he could casually one-shot and, well, kill him in under 5 seconds. So he drastically scales above him, but he also scales to any feats he's demonstrated. Now, Lucifero has actually demonstrated some pretty good feats, one being able to casually stomp all the captains, and one being Dorothy, which is the most impressive because of the fact that what happened when she did. When Dorothy tried to trap him in Glamour World, he just stood there in the effect. Now, the Glamour World effect is supposed to suck you in instead to have a pull into Glamour World. Now, not only did Lucifero just casually chill and just resist its pull, he also just destroyed it, which would be like destroying Glamour World, since the effect is Glamour World itself. Not to mention drastically weaker people like Morris, who's actually using Lucifero's power. A mere fraction of it was when had an encounter with Dorothy, was casually able to destroy it. Meaning even fodder people like this can even destroy Glamour World, excluding even Lucifero. But like, and I'm wondering, okay, what does it mean to destroy Glamour World? Now, Glamour World, way back when in the Elf arc, was stated by Luck that it's endless and it has no border. But right after that, it was complimented by Magnus saying that's impossible. Don't be an idiot, right? And now a lot of people try to use this as a debunk, but the next panel after that says, here in Glamour World, the impossible is impossible, referring to how it's like the creators confirming what Luck's saying. So, don't let impossibility just, bother you. Here it doesn't matter, right? And if that was my only piece of proof, I can understand people arguing against it. But the fact that inside the fight, when she fought Yami inside the training arc they had, Yami had to use Dimension Slash Equinox to even destroy the realm, which Dimension Slash by itself, not the Equinox version, it can cut through any infinite 3D space, which would, even the fact that he needed to use his amped version to destroy it, does salute the fact that it was a, infinite sized realm, since he needed an even stronger attack that can already cut through any infinite 3D space. With all that aligned, it pretty aligns the fact that it is a infinite sized universe, since it was stated and confirmed by its creator of the realm, and the fact that it was shown with people with other attacks could not destroy it unless it was even higher than its own infinite universe type AP. And even now, like Versus Battle Wiki and character stats and profile wiki do accept that Glamour World is a high universal size realm, meaning the fact that Morris could casually destroy it, who is using a fraction of Lucifero's power, and the fact that Lucifero even casually resisted and destroyed it as well, make them just casually high universal. More so, it's referring to the fact that since even fodder characters like Morris can do this, even people like the Dark Triad and up could casually do this if we want to use Morris's feat from destroying it. And as said, Asta casually scales to this from casually one-shotting Lucifero in under 5 seconds in true double union. Now moving on to the speed. Now Asta had his infinite. was repping the infinite speed argument for Asta. And that was purely off the fact that since one fighting Lucifero in his half manifested full power, both Yami and Asta use their Yami Dimension Slash Equinox or Dimension Slash, and Asta using Infinite Slash or Infinite Slash Equinox at Lucifero, and he casually dodges it. And just by itself, Dimension Slash is, already shown, can traverse infinite 3D space, and Infinite Slash Equinox can even surpass and destroy an infinite sized realm, even coming out on the other side of it. So just him dodging that would be just infinite speed. But the fact that the Demon Slasher sword is the one exact same sword as Yami's, and it's stated to be referenced in parallels to each other, couldn't fear that they are very equal and stuff, and just support that. But and I know people had their own arguments against that, saying how it probably wouldn't equal that, which even Yami was able to dodge Yami's, right? But going into the newest feat in the newest Black Clover chapters, when Lucius is fighting or talking to, he doesn't really fight, he just comes there, right? And Asta's like, who are you? And since Lucius has the time magic, he just stops time. Everyone is affected by it, and he's about to kill Asta. He even explained, we know he wants to, it's explained after he breaks out of this, that he wants to kill Asta because he's the only flaw in this world. That's his intention. He doesn't want to keep him around, he wants to kill him, right? Now, as shown, he was about to kill Asta, doing the same kind of finger touch thing he did to Damnatio, which killed him, and Asta not only just reacted to it, but even transformed and moved out of the way. Now, you can even argue in base Asta was able to do this, since he had to transform from it, and he was able to react before he can do it, and moving in stop time is inaccessible speed. Now, someone's going to come out and say that, oh, it was just the anti-magic negging it, which is not true. He did use the Demon Destroyer Sword to neg the entire spell after he dodged and talked to him for a second, right? So that is not true. And the fact that a base to, like a potentially base, but at least low black variant of Asta could move and react in stop time would be inaccessible speed quite casually. And someone's also going to say, oh, maybe he did use the, any anti-magic to neg it, in which I did just demonstrate why it wasn't even using anti-magic when he had to transform in the first place. But even if he was to, it's been said you need the force to back it up with anti-magic, meaning if he even did use anti-magic to move, which he didn't, he would need the force, the physical force to move and stop time, which would still be inaccessible speed. And also going back to the, he needs forcing, that also further supports the fact that he was able to just kill Lucifero with his own force. Even Lucifero was stated he was just physically strong without magic also. And to further support that, Asta scales to Lucifero. Even without his True Devil Union, after it appeared that they killed Lucifero, he was still able to move since they didn't get his heart right. And he's like saying, now since you guys are out of energy, you're all useless, you're all, you guys can't, you're helpless now, he's gonna kill you all. He even said, my other half of power is in the underworld. If I had that, I would be able to beat you guys. I'm not full strength yet. And he even, when flying away, he's like, it doesn't matter, you guys can't even kill me. When he sees Asta gets up, he's like, damn it, he can still fight. He tries to get away, and that base Asta was able to just cleave and chop through, and kill Lucifero. Now, the fact that it's not implied anywhere that Lucifero was any way or shape or form even decreased in power at all. It's even more implied that he just needed his other half that's stuck in the underworld. So him doing this in base would just mean this base Asta could scale to a Lucifero, put him even higher with his black form transformations into high universal. Now, also going based off that, even just Asta won the same base Lucifero that scales drastically above Morris and even destroyed and resisted Glamour World's pull. Even that base Asta was able to resist the passive gravity of Lucifero. So with all that in mind, you can argue that base Asta could be degrees and high universal. And to just quickly go over his moves, as attacks, I shouldn't really go over his, they'll all be useless here since they all are based around negging magic, which Gojo does not have. He has cursed energy, so he can just kind of slash, amp himself drastically with the black forms and fly around. With that out of the way, let's go over into the fight. Yes, I hope you guys liked that little fight, and yes, as you saw, Asta does indeed win. Now, I'm going to explain why. So, something I forgot to talk about is Gojo's domain expansion. Now, his domain expansion, Unlimited or Infinite Void, whichever translation you prefer, it puts the user and its victim inside their own domain expansion. Inside the expansion, of course, the creator of it, and all their attacks will always hit, as well as inside the dimension, or realm, whichever you want to call it, infinite information gets put in their head. But the thing about that, it's not instantaneously. It's like every 1.2 seconds, half a year of information is put inside the victim's head. So I just want to get that out of the way. Now, Asta wins just purely based off just the stats. Now, Asta's hacks pretty much useless in this fight, besides the fact he can amp himself. But everything else is he just speeds, powers Gojo completely. Now, the high ball you can get Gojo is, well, high universal, and that's assuming that the star inside, well, Dagon's world is the same as like an actual star, and then you can just say that's a large star level feat and apply the black flash amp. It can be up to like high universal. But for Black Clover stance, even more, it's just able to destroy Dorothy's realm, which is an infinite sized place, and even much weaker people like him can do it. And if you just want a high ball, only Lucifero could, but he could casually do it in a much weaker state than when Asta one-shot him. Either way you take it, he's just gonna out AP him. And in terms of speed, the highest speed thing we have for Gojo is the inaccessible speed. That can easily be argued saying he's just using infinity, even if you do give him the benefit of a doubt. Unlike arguing all this stuff that he's not using infinity and he actually knows what he's talking about, Asta just blatantly moved and stopped time in the newest chapter, and the only debunk to this is that he was actually just using his anti-magic, which he did not use. He had to be in base to transform in the first place, and two, he didn't use any of his swords until after he, pulled it out. But even if he did use it, he needs the actual force to move with the anti-magic, meaning his pure movement speed was able to move and stop time. So again, it's just he just outspeeds him. At the highest you can give him, they would be at least around equal speed, but that's just a base to barely any devil power Asta. And the more believable standpoints, they're only around in the Mach type speeds, maybe relativistic. So he clearly outspeeds him, and even just outpowers him. I didn't even go over the 5D arguments for, well, Asta, which you can go check out this video right here. But still, there's just so much. He just outspeeds, with just these metas alone, I just used for this AP meta, he outstrengths him entirely. Clearly outspeeds him, unless you want to argue the higher ends, which can be argued against much easier than Asta's, which he just blatantly moved and stopped time. Now, going over, Asta's hacks don't really have a play in this fight since he doesn't use magic, and I don't think, Curse Energy and magic have enough of similarity to, say they equal each other. Does any of Gojo's abilities, will be a good fight? Not really, because as shown, if he's not strong enough to even hurt him, Curse Technique Red and Blue won't do anything. Potentially, Curse Technique Hollow Purple could probably erase the space or just hit him directly, but he would have to hit him first, and he could probably just tank it if he's just strong enough. Now, the Infinite Barrier would usually be a hard thing, but it's very easy to combat it. All you would need is technically having a universal plus, attack potency or higher, or have infinite speed or higher to bypass it, because infinity is just a fourth dimensional type barrier. So if you can just have infinite speed, you can bypass it, which he casually has inaccessible, which is a whole infinite tier above that, or universal plus attack power, which on a lowest end he has high universal, just Morris. So just imagine him on higher ends. Even if you want to say that won't matter, he has his 5D arguments, which you're going to check out in this video. Just Asta just plainly outscales Gojo in every way. Even if you give him the highest arguments, he only comes around to be bare minimally a base Asta if we don't go all out for Asta. So yeah, that's all. Sorry guys, Jujutsu Kaisen loses this fight, and well, Asta's the winner. Anyway, that's all. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. This video was recommended by Justin. Shout out to him again. Here's this thing. And yeah, join the Discord. It's much easier to recommend videos than just on a YouTube comment section. And yeah, Mr. Crafty